on.
I remember Mom was so scared of storms because she got blown away in Texas.
Yeah.
And she said she was doing ironing, and Cleo was in the other room, and she looked out the window and saw this big cloud of dust coming right toward her. And before she could get in there and get Cleo, it had hit the house and just blew it all to pieces. It cut her forehead.
And knocked her out, didn't it?
Well, they found Cleo knocked out on a pile of boards.
But it didn't knock Grandma out?
Well, I don't remember, but I went out once it didn't. But there's some guys working on the pipeline, and they saw her. And they went and picked her and Cleo up, was take her in town to where Daddy was working. And they met Daddy on the road, but he didn't know that they was in there.
Oh.
So they turned around and took him
He
back.
was going to check on him?
Yeah, it's going to the house. And she was so scared of storms when it could just thunder, and she would take us to the cellar. We lived down the holler. Daddy made her a little cellar back in the bank. Just room for us to all get in.
Yeah.
And then we got up on the hill, and she would, no matter if it's the middle of the night or anything, if it thundered, she gathered us all up and took us to the cellar. And Phil, one night, he was running to get in the cellar, and he fell all the way down the steps. Do you remember that, Phil?
I was still asleep.
He cut his head, he cut his place on his head. But Daddy'd never get up and go.
Them or Paris did the one.
Oh, Paris wouldn't, I don't remember Paris not go.
No, he wouldn't get up and go either.
Because they wasn't scared. And I know we still lived down the holler before Daddy made that cellar. She'd take us out, it'd be pouring down rain, and spread the blankets out and cover us up. Just down on the ground.
Yeah.
Keep us safe.
Mm-hmm.
That was terrible to live like that.
Well, she's just trying to protect you.
Yeah, and she was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that old cellar's still
I would like
there.
to know too. If I'm ever down there.
Is it over by the spring house?
No, it's out of the way.
It's
Up on the bank from the
from that little
Right.
barn. From that little barn.
Oh, so it's over by the little barn, kind of?
Yeah.
So you had to go quite a ways.
No, it wasn't just over the
Just across the road.
hill.
Yeah.
Across the road?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dad built Goldie cellar. Remember that?
I remember her having a cellar, but I don't remember him building it.
Yeah, he built it. I forget who all helped on it.
And where did she live at the time?
There on Ferris Bowling Place.
Like going down to the farm, down to Daddy's place.
And he built her one, the typical ones, just at the ground.
Yeah.
Level ground. Well, I can remember Mom taking us to the cellar when it stormed.
I know.
I can remember
I
rolling
was
through the rain. Yeah, it's the way you grew up.
Yeah.
You better be scared.
Yeah, and when the
At
kids
first.
was still home, but now it bothers me, but I don't get scared.
Well, the one time the barn was
Oh
knocked
yeah,
down.
what that one time you all was at Bible school,
Mhm.
and Mike was baby, and I laid down with him to give him a nap, and the storm came through and blew that barn down. I didn't even know it.
Ah,
till I got up.
Well,
And it went through straight through across to Lynchburg, where they having the Bible school.
Mhm.
And
And they took all of our Bible school, everybody at the church went up to the Lynchburg store to get in their cellar. And that's when Jane Todd was a little girl. I just know it was a skinny little girl. And she just started going straight up in the air. And somebody reached up and took a hold of her foot and pulled her back
picked her
down.
up.
well,
Yeah. And that was a storm. And I guess it went more.
I don't think it was Jane Todd. I think it was Linda Todd. I think she said it was Linda Todd.
It didn't come to my house. It went just to the barn.
Mhm.
Took the barn. Didn't even hit the house.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just a straight path from Lynchburg through there.
Yeah. I know Mike was baby, or he's small enough that I'd lay down with him and give him a nap.
Daisy.
So Uncle Bob and Aunt Daisy, who lived down over the bluff next to the river,
And
Kinchalow.
if we wanted to go see him, why, Dad knew what time Uncle Bob would be outside doing chores. And we go down there to the river and
Go down the bluff.
holler across there for Uncle Bob till he heard us, and
We'd holler all the way down that bluff.
he would come down, get in his boat and come across to get us.
Yeah, and we'd get our mail that way. See, our mail came over there where Herb lived.
Oh,
And
really?
he would get our mail and bring it to his house, and then we'd call and he'd meet us down there and bring it across in the boat. Or if we wanted to just go to their house, we'd start hollering going down that bluff.
Now Aunt Daisy was
Daddy's sister.
Oldest sister.
and she was really short, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Real.
Like your grandma Caudle.
Her hair would drag the floor.
Really.
I stayed with her one winter. Uncle Bob was in the hospital for a long time, and I stayed with her. And we every night for supper we eat cornbread and milk. She didn't cook very much.
How many children did they have?
They had 4, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah.
And the girls lived in California, moved to California. And when Mom said when I was born that her name was Caudle. That's a weird name. And said they named me Wilma Bell, named Bell after Grandma. And said, Cap won't know what they named me. And Mom told her and she said, well, you all don't care who you name her after. I guess she didn't like Grandma or something.
I guess.
Didn't like who they named me after. But
And
little
so did-
Ainsley's named after me.
Did they? Did the 2 sons stay in that area?
They both lived over there.
About 2 miles from Uncle Bob.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just straight
Both
out.
had farms. And when one would go buy a new pickup, the other one would go buy one too.
Francis and Herb.
And
Herb.
same way with their houses, they had them stuccoed and done just alike, and they both bought tractors just alike.
And they farmed that Kinchlow place. They called it the Horseshoe Bend because the gas grenade went right around like horseshoe around Uncle Bob's place.
Now, is that how Uncle Bob and Aunt Daisy made their living? They farmed?
Yes,
Uncle
Yes.
Bob didn't do that.
he was lazy. He'd have hard
Well,
to
he inherited everything.
Oh yeah, he inherited that place.
Well, how did he make a living?
He took enough off of them boys to live on, I guess.
I don't know how he lived
I mean, he had to raise
Neither.
his family.
unless he had cattle and see Francis lived there on that place down by the river and that.
Yeah,
He lived there for several years,
yeah.
but they had crops, all kinds of. He had hogs. Uncle Bob had. Yeah, he had hogs. Remember out there? Crossing
Yeah.
He had.
He was
hogs.
always a big old
Uncle Bob?
man.
Yes, he had lots of hogs.
Oh, he did?
And we could hear him calling them hogs clear up to the schoolhouse.
I bet it would. I bet it would carry that far.
Yeah, we could hear him of a morning. I forgot all about them pigs.
He used to, at his older years, he rode an old white horse, right?
I don't know what
He'd
that
come up to
was.
Grandma's on an old white horse.
I don't know what kind of horse
I don't
it
either.
was.
He rode a horse.
Well, he would come.
Rode a horse
When I
there.
stayed with Grandma, he would come and he would ride up alongside the fence there on the side of the house, and he'd always
That
have this
was
white
a
horse.
road.
Yeah,
Bill Prock's road.
he tore
Yeah,
the
it was like
fence
a
down.
road.
I was telling her about him tearing, her and Fancy about him tearing that fence out. But I didn't tell you too bad. Every fall of the year, Bill Prock and Ruby would load up and they'd take off to Washington.
And this was when?
In the fall of the year
Okay.
when fruit was done. And every
Spring.
Urkel Todd load his family up and they go west. Bill or Lloyd Prock and them, they load up, just go for the fruit picking, enough to live on through the winter.
They'd buy an old cow and some chickens
Yeah,
and
Make a
come
garden.
back with nicer cars than they had before.
go out there and put all them kids to
Um,
pick them fruit.
And then in the spring, they'd have sell old cow and chickens to get back to Washington.
Load up, go back out there. They did that for years. And Daddy, he finally moved us out there. I think we lived out there 8 months. And he worked in timber with his 2 brothers.
And how old were you then?
I think I was 8 years old.
So it was a very young family he took out there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I wasn't even born.
yeah. I guess Paris was the baby.
Yeah.
Paris. So that's 3 girls in Western Paris.
I
And Mom
lived.
would do laundry, she'd do sewing, she'd just do anything to make extra money.
Hmm.
And then Hazel and then Esty, I don't know about any Eunice. Uncle Bert's wife was different. But Uncle Jess and Uncle Leslie's wives, they stood on their butts, and that Aunt Esty was a party going. She'd primp up, dress up, and stop up at our house, have her lips all painted. She's going out and dancing. And they stayed up in the timber, working in the timber.
And wondered why our family had something and
Yeah.
they didn't even have enough to eat.
They had cabins they
Done.
stayed in up in the mountains. Daddy and Uncle Leslie and Uncle Bert.
That I lived with Uncle Amos and Nate and Nori, and I never seen a happier marriage than they had.
Who was that?
Uncle Amos and Nate and Nori.
Now, how were they related?
And
It's
Nori,
the dad's brother.
and then Nori was the half sister to Lee.
Oh,
So their kids was related on both sides to us.
and where did they live?
Down by Falcon,
Oh,
Brownfield, they
Yeah,
call
Brownfield.
it. Brownfield's farther north from Falcon. But they always had a big farm, a bunch of cows, chickens, and
They named every animal.
it was nothing to go there and they'd have cattle in by the heating stove. Now
And-
that was Vernon and Lorraine and Dorothy May's my parents. They had two boys and a girl. Dorothy May, I think, still living.
Yeah, she is.
I meant to ask you about that, Phil. Them boys, all the boys, did you know? Did you say anything to them about Dorothy May?
Yeah, Keith called me 2-3 days before Thanksgiving. He always calls me and tries to get me to come out and eat
Really?
with him. And he said she's doing just fine.
And she's Cleo's age.
mm.
She's 91.
Oh my goodness. Does she still live with her daughter?
No, she's in a nursing home or
Oh.
something.
I'd love to go.
There
She
in
lived in
Lebanon.
Lebanon. We won't go by there.
She came to that one
Yeah,
reunion.
year before this.
Now
Yeah.
who is this?
That's ain't Nori Amos' daughter.
Okay.
And I never seen anybody as happy as she was.
Oh, she's just so
She
glad.
just hugged and hugged
Yeah.
me and
Me
wouldn't
too.
turn me loose.
Me too.
And she said, and Pansy's here.
Yeah, she was Cleo's age, Dorothy May. But she was the baby. They had two boys and then they had her. And we'd go to her house and she'd be a grown girl. And probably in her early teens. And she'd be sitting on Uncle Amos's lap.
Wow.
And I
man.
just couldn't have figured that out. We wouldn't dare sit on our dad's lap that old.
You probably didn't do that even at a young age.
Yeah, but she was the baby and
Yeah.
the only girl.
They was something, and they act like they was always having a ball.
Oh, yeah.
Never, never nothing but laughing, and I never did hear them talk about people. They would say, well, we're going to this to do pie supper or something, and so was drunk, and they kept saying this and that, and just a laugh.
Ain't Nori would make two of Uncle Amos.
Yeah.
He was a really small guy and she was a big woman. But they got along really good.
They just act like they had a ball all the time.
I've known people like that.
and they always had dog there too,
Animal. She's an
and
animal.
just spoil 'em rotten. And that one they had when I was down there, they'd go to town on Saturday and sell their eggs in the grocery shop. And they'd come home and that old dog would just go crazy. And they'd leave the back door of the car open. And they'd always get us a bag of candy. And she'd get up in there and smell around till she found her candy. And by here,
Did you all ever have pets?
oh yeah,
What'd you have?
we had a hoot owl,
What's that?
Owl.
You had an owl?
big old owl about that
Paris
tall.
had a pet squirrel.
And we had two pet squirrels, a red one and a gray one.
So were they just outside, or did you have them in the
it's
house?
In the house.
I had to have them in the house because the dogs would kill them.
Mm-hmm.
But they would just put on shows all the time.
We have Bruno, the old dog. We had him when we lived in the
He
house.
was 18-year-old when
Bruno.
he died.
Yeah.
And we had another dog or two besides him
And
from
Grandpa,
time to time.
when Grandpa lived up on the hill, we still lived in the holler. He had an old town that was called Peter. Rowdy Pete. Rowdy Pete. That was his name. And I forget, I guess we had Bruno. And that hound and our dog seemed like every morning would meet about halfway up on that hill and fight. Oh, I could hear them up there just fighting all morning long. But they left to fight. Rowdy Pete was that old hound's name.
But I stayed there quite a bit one summer with Uncle Amos and Aunt Nori, and they just,
And both their
you
boys,
couldn't get over how happy people they were.
was big farmers and, did real good in farming.
I bet they were a big contrast to how your mom and dad acted at home. Because you said
Oh,
your dad
yeah.
didn't talk and Grandma
When
was
we
pretty
go
quiet.
down there, nobody had phones, and you just had to start cooking when you got there. And Uncle Amos said, "Nora, don't you think you ought to start dinner?" Yeah. And she'd get off talking. And she'd talk and he'd tell her he'd say something. Yeah, I better get started.
And Vernon and his wife, they didn't get married till they sold her, did they?
Vernon was out of the army.
Now that was their son?
Vernon was the oldest, and they didn't have kids. They adopted a boy and a girl. Johnny and what was the girl?
Alice.
Alice, yeah. They adopted 2 kids. And she, even after she's married, she got killed in a car wreck.
The wife did?
The girl they
The
adopted.
little girl did.
But Johnny, he's probably still living.
You're talking
he
about their
is.
adopted daughter got
Yeah.
killed?
Yeah, Alice and Johnny's the boy.
But that Johnny, he never did amount to nothing, but Alice was just as sweet as a little thing you ever seen.
Now, was they brother and sister?
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were.
And Johnny went and seen his mom.
Really?
And finally he talked Alice into go and see her. And evidently their dad wasn't no good at all. And he brought the sheriff out, or police, or somebody like that. And she couldn't read or write a word. And she made the X for signature. And he told her to sign this piece of paper. And she made her X. And they come and got, I think, 8 kids.
Really?
And they, when Johnny met her the first time, she went and wrote her name down for him. She jumped in and learned how to read and write, so nothing like that happened again.
Well.
And finally, Alice went and seen her, and me and Marilyn stopped by. She lived in a little bitty trailer. It wasn't as big as this room. And there at Nebo. And she was just tickled to death. Well, it's about time you come and see your family. And I said, well, it's the same distance from here to my house as it is the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, he won't take her. She is married then. Said, he won't take me nowhere. And so she had got a letter from her real mother. Martha was dead by then, and brought it to me and had me to read it. And she said, I wrote her a letter and told her my mom was dead. And she went on, and she always sat on my lap when I worked for Vernon. And then of a night, she'd come sit on my lap and watch TV. Well, she had just a little old thing. And Marilyn was there, and she came and sat on my lap then. After she was married.
Oh my.
And she still wasn't much bigger.
No, she never was
Real
very big.
little thing.
Well, I heard Johnny had got into some trouble or something.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that he's been a bailed bondman for years there,
Really?
there at Rolla.
Yeah.
And he even went Paris's to bail one time.
Huh. Do you think you ought to try to find him?
Oh, I've seen him. I used to go by his house every once in a while.
Well,
but I don't remember how to get there now.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
How did you meet Marilyn?
Uh,
Grew up in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
she was walking home from Hickman High, and Jerry was driving, told him pick her up, and then we started going together. Boy,
Who picked her up?
me and Jerry.
Jerry Snipes. Oh. And they used to live there on Wilkes. You probably remember.
Marilyn did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many years were you married?
About 13, I don't know, 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's longer than that.
Mm-hmm. And then you had
Me and Lola, I can't think of her name now. If I don't hear her name every day, I can't remember it.
uh-huh.
Your sister,
Beth.
Becky, Dana, Judy,
your half sister.
Judy,
Oh, Laura.
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 Me and her are just real close. I just love her to
Well,
death.
Dina said to tell you, the soon as we can get Laura to come down here with us, we're bringing her.
Well, good.
Well, when did you meet Laura?
At Clifford's funeral,
Oh.
I didn't meet her till then.
But he just, and that she just thinks the world of him too.
It just,
She's not been well. She's been
oh really?
Oh yeah. Pat knows more about it.
Yeah, she's got some illnesses, and I've been trying to get her to eat better and do different things, but I don't know that she's going to do that. But she has trouble going to work all the time and stuff because she didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And she moved back into the Sappington house.
You got it.
Yeah, and she's been decorating it.
She's got fixed up pretty. It looks nice.
Well,
And
good.
she told me she had her a little dog now.
Mm-hmm.
She still sees that guy out at the one out Midway Cunningham, their builders. She was living with him, and he lives in the house his grandpa built. So, and you knew that Laura's grandma is a grandma.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, she still takes the little dog out there at the farm and lets it run around.
Yeah.
So have you seen her since the funeral? Have you seen her since then?
Oh, yeah.
I took him
We
in.
stopped in Walmart 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
good.
took him in there and let him
Good.
see her.
Just for the
And he gave
baby.
her last year, was it for Christmas? Yeah, last year. I took him in there and he gave her $100 for
Yeah.
her and
And it
Brittany's
was about the time for the baby. Too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
for her and her and Brittany.
So you had two daughters, Kelly and Donna,
Yeah.
and of course Kelly passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see either Kelly's daughters or Donna very much?
I don't see her daughters won't have nothing to do with me, but they let me know that they're gonna get their part of what I got when something happens to me.
So have you tried to keep in touch with them?
No,
Have you
They-
got a will made up, Phil?
yeah, me and Danny,
Oh yeah,
when
Dan.
he come down, we had one made up, and the bank knows to let the owner close my account there and all. So everything should be taken care of. That Chrissy, she,
Now, is that one of Kelly's daughters?
no, it's one of yours.
Oh, my daughter,
I
Christy.
wanted you.
Well, you said Christy, I thought.
I probably
Oh.
Yeah, I call her Christy.
She, I told her that she was married to a nigger and got 2 kids by him, and I said, I don't have nothing to do with her. And she acted like she was about to pass out.
Well, it's not very nice for you to say that.
Well, you know,
Well,
Buster does the same thing.
I'm talking to
said-
Phil.
It's where we grew up, but that's what people called them back when we was growing up.
Well, when you know better, though, you don't do it.
Yeah,
you know.
but they
That,
even call each other that.
Don't excuse it, Mom.
That I told Chris
So is that what separated you from your your granddaughters?
one of them, and then I said something I guess I shouldn't have said to the other one.
Now, what's her name?
And she, well, what is
I don't know. I
So what
forget.
Amy?
Amy.
So
yeah.
what'd you say to her?
I don't know. And she don't have nothing to do with me. But she called me and told me she was going to come and see me.
Well, good.
And all she called for is to let me know that she knows where I live.
But she never did come see you.
I didn't have no intention
Oh,
of something.
man. Now, how many kids has she got?
3
Does she?
girls, a picture.
So did you have a good relationship with them before you said that about her husband and kids?
With Amy I did, I thought. So I don't know, I just forgot about them.
Did you feel bad about saying those things to him?
No.
So that's really the way you think, and
Well, somewhat. This thing that lives next door, he, I think more of a lot of colors than I do him. People like him as far as that goes, but I'm like this old boy, old man in Poland, I believe it was, yeah. This one, woman was out on in the country interviewing people, and he she went over to this old guy with bib overalls on and everything and overweight. She said, how do you feel about blacks? And he said, woman, I don't even mix breed my cattle. And he said, that's the way I feel about anything. Which you can't argue with that.
so you think maybe Patty Ann and Jason shouldn't have got married?
Huh?
So do you think Patty Ann and Jason shouldn't have got married?
Jason, not black.
He's Chinese.
He's not what?
He's Chinese. Do you think Patty Ann and Jason shouldn't have got married?
Oh, I don't know. about that.
Do you think?
I don't hold it against them at all.
Well, you held it against your granddaughter.
If they had married Chinese or I wouldn't have thought nothing about it.
So you, in your mind, you think maybe the blacks are lesser person? Is that why you're against it? Is that, I don't understand why there's
no,
an
it's just
objection.
as plain as black and white.
Or Chinese and white, yellow and white. I mean,
Yeah. I don't know.
have you thought about why you have those feelings that you think she shouldn't have married him?
Well, she knew better to start with.
There wasn't anything to know better. If that was the person that made her happy, that's who she should marry.
It said on the world news that like 80% of blacks and whites that get married is for sexual purposes more than love.
You know, I don't know what you're listening to, but that is a bunch of BS. That is crazy crap. Don't listen to that crazy crap.
It was on the regular world news.
That is crazy. I don't know. If you were listening to Fox News, maybe.
No, I don't at all.
I can't. I don't know what the deal is, but that's crazy. That's really crazy. I'm sorry. One of my best friends was married to a black guy, and they had a great marriage. They have great kids. You know, but I understand how you were raised, and I understand how a lot of people around here are raised.
I told Chrissy, I said, you can ask me that and see where we're at right now. I said,
So what does that mean?
There ain't a colored person in 20 miles. And
But you lived in Columbia.
I don't know. I had black friends.
Mm-hmm.
I even went to all black nightclubs whenever I felt like it.
So why were you against your? I don't understand.
But you didn't marry one either.
I didn't go with one either.
So if I decide to marry a black guy, then you two don't want anything to do with me.
No.
Well, my half sister Laura was married to a black man.
Huh?
My half sister.
Laura married a black guy.
She was she married or just living?
I think she's married.
I think she's married to
Well, I felt like I told Wilma this, that if I give her a lot of love, she thought a lot of me. And I was hoping that she would get away from him if somebody showed her some real love. And
She's been married, what, 3 times at least?
it wasn't no time
I
till
think just two.
she
Neil and a black guy. I think some they went.
There was another guy at the baby shower.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
she it wasn't no time when she'd come around me, her and that black guy, she wouldn't have nothing to do with them. But I got to tell you this, Becky come back in the restaurant and got me and said, there's somebody out here I want you to meet and or see or something. And I went out there and she said, "This is my sister," and told me her name, Laura, and so I just grabbed her and hugged her real big right there. And her husband was standing there
He was the black guy, wasn't he?
watching him, yeah. And Becky said, "Now don't she look like Jan?" And I said, "Don't you tell my niece she's ugly." And
Some people think she looks like Cleo.
she looked just like Wilma.
No? Yeah? I mean, I think she does. She looks like several of them, yeah.
And you can look at that family picture
Yeah.
and Wilma and her picture, and they look so much alike, it's unreal.
I don't think she looks a thing like Jan.
And
I don't think she looks like Jan. I think she's got bigger features
I
than Jan.
think she
Becky-
looks more like Pat than she does
Becky
Jan.
kept saying, "She looks like Jan," and I keep telling her she could tell Laura that she was ugly, and I hauled off and slapped Becky.
Poor Becky.
And Laura said, "Did you see him? He slapped her." And
Well,
then we all laughed about
When
it.
she started working at Walmart, she was in electronics. Then they moved her to baby stuff, and then they moved her to women's stuff. And then I was in there the other day, and they got her back in electronics.
Well,
And I said, "I'm gonna have to put a bell on you so I'll know where you."
she's a sweetheart.
But
You know,
her-
I've always thought that I always wanted my daughters to do whatever they wanted in life. Whatever job they wanted, if they wanted to wash dishes and they were happy, that was fine with me.
Right.
I don't care who they marry. As long as they're happy, I am fine with that. But I would never turn my back on my daughters for any reason.
Well, how does your daughter feel about moving to the Carolinas?
They love it.
They love it there.
After all them
Yeah.
storms and all.
You know, they had to leave. They had to evacuate.
I know.
And their house was actually in the eye of the hurricane. And, well, I was supposed to go down there and visit. I already had my flights booked. And I said, "Is Matthew coming too?" And she goes, "Who's Matthew?" And I said, "The hurricane." So it came through, and the eye, by the time it got to the Carolinas, it was less. But the eye of it went right over their house. And they had to evacuate to Columbia, South Carolina, to stay with a friend. And there wasn't any damage to their house, but I went down there, it was over 2 weeks later, and every street had piles of cut up trees and brush and bushes and stuff. Big piles at every house. And the city, I guess, was coming around and picking them all up.
Yeah.
But in 2 weeks, none of her area had been touched yet.
Yeah.
Well, there's just been another one down there
That
somewhere.
been
That's not been very
flooding
much.
and
A lot of flooding in North Carolina.
tornadoes and everything.
Now, is Wallace in south or north?
He's in South, but he's what did he say? He was 2 hours and something away from the coast,
Yeah.
2.5 hours or something.
Yeah,
So that would be about how far he is from Chrissy.
yeah.
Yeah.
We saw a picture of him at Pansy's. Him and his wife Linda, really nice looking couple. They just look really nice
Yeah.
together.
Well,
I hadn't seen
never
her.
have seen her.
I have. Last time I saw her, I was 15. I went to Kansas City to have my teeth cut out, and I stayed with them for a
Well,
long. I was 15 when I went there.
Yeah.
She was a really
Oh,
nice
well,
lady.
but I wondered how she was the liking that 'cause ain't been nothing but one disaster right after another.
Well, they hadn't been there very long when it
Some-
came through, but she said, we feel like we're living on vacation all the time. It's beautiful
They
weather.
just
They go out
love
and play pickleball, and then they work the rest of the day, and it's just they just
They
love
got
it.
2 dogs and 2 cats.
Oh, no.
And there's a beach close by, and
Well,
historical Charleston, and
One cat's named after me.
Oh, no.
the
Billy.
And one, Wilma, and one of them named after his grandma,
Oh, no.
Gertie.
the dog.
Oh,
He
the-
sure seems so nice.
Oh, he is.
Just as nice.
My daughters have picked out great son-in-laws. I just
Patty
adore
and
both of them.
husband's nice too.
Well, now,
And it wouldn't have mattered what color they were,
what
as long as it was a good guy.
Patty Ann, I never have met her husband, really.
Oh, really?
Uh-uh.
And you met him where? Mom's party or where was it? Where did you meet him? Have you met him?
I met him once when me and Nudie stopped at your house and you all was eating dinner.
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
But nobody introduced me
Yeah,
to him, but I seen him and
yeah.
spoke
Oh,
to him.
he's a great guy.
He
really
is.
is.
He's really. He knows how to make money too, and how to
Yeah.
spend it.
But he's a good dad. He's a good husband.
Yeah.
He's a good
Yeah.
son-in-law. He takes me to
Well,
play
I
golf.
knew he had to be a good person.
He's a
Mhm.
very good person.
Yeah, it would have been not a good situation if they'd picked somebody that wasn't good to them.
I know you
No.
used to have an Easter or something at your house there on St. George's Road. And all of us was there, and Jason and one of his friends come by. And I think him and Patty Ann got into it or something.
Mm.
Anyway, he left and she was crying.
Oh,
And
I
I
don't even remember
felt-
that.
I still think about that, and she was crying. And I felt so sorry for her.
Well, they dated in high school, broke up in college, got back together. I think they went kind of back and forth a little bit, and he stood her up at a dance one time. He took somebody else, and so until they actually got married, he always was very nervous around me because he knew I was mad.
Well, I don't know whether she wanted him to stay there that day
Oh, I don't have
or
any
what
idea.
it was, but I felt so sorry for her. And I didn't know what to say to her because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
But I think about that every so often about
Well,
teenage girls are very emotional too.
What was I going to say? It's something that I guess it's a Christmas or Thanksgiving when me and Donna and Marilyn all come to your house at Fulton.
Yeah.
And, no, this was at Bobby and them's first house, is what I'm thinking of.
Oh.
And, I, said, some Patty Ann was sitting out on the front porch, and I said, "Are you still married to that guy, or is you just shacking?" She said, "Oh, I just take care of his kids and feed him."
Oh, goodness.
That was fun.
They got good kids, too.
Yeah, that some of them kids was out there and had these things where you blow bubbles.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, boy, you better not steal any of that. I think it's a Dana's boys. And they said, why? And I said, it'll kill all the grass. And Steve will be out here after you. And boy, they didn't play with them anymore. They wasn't
God.
about to.